Hey guys, what is up? It is Skullflag44 here. I thought I'd do a little weekend commentary to kind of change things up a little bit. I guess not really change things up, but keep it current because a lot of stuff going on my channel, or pretty much all of it, is pre-recorded stuff, and this kind of keeps it more fresh. And I'll upload this right when I get it exported and all that, and kind of give you guys some sort of update. So, well, first of all, if you want, if you guys are really interested in like a current update, you should follow me on Twitter because I pretty much tweet out all the stuff that I'm going to say here, but not completely because some stuff, you just have to explain more, and obviously I can explain it better through words than through words, written words, I don't know. So pretty much this weekend started out pretty, I guess, how am I going to do this? Just going to wing it. So this weekend started out nicely. There was a high school football game, but I decided not to go to that because I figured it would not be a very competitive game. And just wasn't really feeling it because I was having a busier weekend coming up. They ended up it was like 60-8 at halftime, so it was a total blowout, and we destroyed them. So that was solid there. I just kind of chilled out, had a good time. Did some homework. I didn't actually record any videos. I worked on homework instead of recording videos, but got that out of the way. And then Saturday, just kind of hung out, watched some college football. Played some basketball, had a good time. I had planned on wakeboarding Sunday morning, and so I was kind of counting on that. So I just kind of chill out the first 2 days. But then turns out there's like a mix-up, and couldn't go wakeboarding Sunday morning because we were gonna go before the Seahawks game at 10. It's like 8 o'clock, and that'd been nice. But it's all works out. So Sunday, I woke up at like 7:30. It was weird. I woke up and then I looked outside or I looked at my room, and it was like lit up, since I don't close my blinds on my windows because I use that as like a natural alarm clock sort of thing. And so I'm like, oh, it's light out, must be kind of later. But it turns out it was like 7, like right when it got light out. And so that kind of like threw me off. So I woke up at like 7:30, or finally got up, I guess, and checked some stuff on my iPad. I watched The Office, I think, and then I looked at like the fantasy stuff, watched some fantasy football now, got some information on that, got geared up for the Seahawks game, watched the Seahawks game. First drive was awesome. I was literally thinking, like, are we gonna blow them out by too much? Like, is this not gonna be a fun game to watch? And then they just took a poop, and we ended up losing the game 19-13. But I'm actually not that disappointed with it. Like, surprisingly, I'm content with it, and I'm just gonna keep it that way. I'm gonna try not to look at any like blogs or anything that'll change that. Because 2-2, tied last in the division. Actually completely last. Okay. Doesn't not really impacting me right now. And that's probably due to that I went to a roller skating party. Just got back from that like an hour ago. And I don't know, that just kind of like took my like mind off it. I didn't have a chance to like dwell on the loss because it happened, that I watched the game, then we left like right after. And so the roller skating thing, my buddy Vlad invited me to that, and he invited me last week, and I was like, oh yeah, sure, I think I can make it. And so got there. A lot of guys didn't go because they don't ever know how to roller skate, and then some people just couldn't make it. And I don't know how to roller skate, so I was like, okay, this is gonna be interesting. We'll see how this goes. And I got there, got kind of like said, hey Vlad, gave him his little card or whatever. Saw some friends there, hung out with Sadeep there mostly, and got my roller skates. I was actually like wondering, do I get like the inline ones or the regular ones? And like I just kind of assumed inline, but then it's like, oh, regular ones, that's gonna be way easier to do, isn't it? But then I went with the inline because that's kind of more, I don't know, it's better to learn like that. I don't know, just because it looked better, I guess. The other ones are like the 4 wheels, like a shoe but just with wheels on the bottom, just kind of old school looking. And I started doing that and would kind of just shimmied my way along there. And that was, at first it was like, okay, this is gonna be a long time, because like everyone else, or for a while everyone else, they were just kind of able to already kind of knew what they were doing. And then some other people arrived that didn't know how to roller skate as well, but I had no idea, so I was able to balance and then kind of just work my kind of just I like walk, but just kind of like move my legs back and forth. So I ended up going forward. And then as I kind of like got used to it, I guess like you're supposed to like push off a little bit. So I was able to be like stay steady, but it just because it was kind of like my speed. And by the end of it, I was moving. My buddy Vlad, whose birthday party it was, like I mentioned, he's like apparently like does this a lot, and like he was just crazy. He's like I've never been to like one of these waitresses or whatever that do that roller skating thing like at a diner or something, but you maybe see it like on a movie or something like that. He was like that. He could just do it, he wasn't like doing tricks. There were some older people, like adults there, doing tricks, and they were just kind of like spinning around. They were on like the more old school 4-wheel shoe sort of things, but he could just like it was crazy. I would try to like imitate it, but I know you can't see it. Maybe I just like if I move my shoulders like this, my voice kind of changes, so maybe that does something. But so the older people there, they were like, if you imagine what you'd think, like imagine. Okay, here let me see how I want to phrase this. I've had trouble like phrasing this because I've thought about it. So think of, I still haven't really thought about it. I feel like if I think about it, it's gonna screw it up. Okay, so imagine that there's, think of going with that, sticking with that. So think of the people that go to these roller skating rinks. Like imagine that, right? Just what you might think they look like, and then what they look like is exactly like that. They're exactly what I thought they would look like. Just kind of like strange people. Nothing wrong with them, but just different. And they were having fun. There was people doing like the doubles, and we're all into it. And like there were a lot of like younger girls there. That sounds weird, but like 9-year-olds. Like it was just a weird thing. So what was funny is me and my friend, we were laughing about this. Is like they would have like Neha, happy 8th birthday, and then Sadie, happy 9th birthday, and then Vlad, happy 15th. And so it was like a mix between there's like the little girls, the older adults, and then Vlad and crew. So we thought that was pretty funny. And the funny part is, I was the only like, see if I say American, that's wrong, but like the only person that didn't have like a dominant foreign nationality. Like there was, my friend Steve's Indian, Vlad's Ukrainian, and then there was like Brazilian guy, and then lots of European, there were a lot of Russian, and then majority were just European. I don't know what European country, but I thought that was kind of funny, that I was like the only, because when I'm not, I would say I'm just American. I'm like part German, but like that goes back. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And let's see. So we roller skated. Kind of got the hang of it. That was fun. Once I was able to like, at first it was like, oh gosh, this is gonna be a long, 2 hours or whatever I was there for. But then it kind of got going. Was all right. Was able to not do some moves, but able to move. And then they did like if you can go backwards, stay on or no, it's like a backwards only session, like if you can't go backwards or don't want to only go backwards, get off the rink or whatever. So you hop off. There's like a little arcade there or whatever, and snacks. And so some people were doing backwards. Then it was like, oh, backwards, that looks simple enough, right? Vlad, like he kind of like was going around greeting people or whatever, saying, hey to all the people at his party or whatever. And he kind of like hops on the rink, and then he's like, oh, we're going backwards. And he just like switches around and starts going backwards. I'm like, what? And then he's like, oh, kind of, just does it so naturally. And I'm like, oh, that looks fairly easy. I don't want to, go out there and do backwards, but I'm sure I could do it, right? And then so a little later, like once I was doing all right, I'm like, okay, I'll try. Let's see if I can go backwards. And it was like, nope, that's not happening at all. I was like, it's not that I wasn't like rolling backwards and couldn't control myself. I just was not moving. Like you have to like completely reverse your skate movement. And it was like, whoa, that's, I'm sure I could get it, but it's just not that as easy as I thought it was. And then they did like one where it's like, do the hokey pokey, and I'm like, I'm getting out of here. And that was like during the beginning. So I'm like, okay, hopefully I can make it off. Like wasn't very confident that I could. But it was a super fun time. had a great time hanging out with some friends there. It's good that my buddy Sadeep was there because like Vlad I know like really well, right? And so I could hang out with him, but he has like all his friends there, obviously. So he's talking to everyone, and then the other guys like there were people I knew, and we're kind of like friends with, but not like hanging out a lot friends with. The funny thing is, we'll go on like a side note of this story here. So how I met Vlad and Sadeep and my buddy Thaddeus, who I think is on a trip, or he would have been invited because they're like all friends. So it's science, 8th grade, first day of school. Walk in, I see that I don't really know anyone that's in the room so far, so I just sit down at like a table, right? And I sit down at this table, and I see there's like a group of friends or group of guys which I'm like I know, but I'm not really like friends with, and so I couldn't sit with them, but I have to like join a group or whatever. So I'm like, I'll sit here, and then there's another group of guys which I know, but they're kind of mess around or whatever, and so then these guys from the other middle school come in because this year they had like split up the middle schools to match the high schools, which makes sense, but they had to like do that for the population amounts. I don't know. They split it up or whatever, so there's new kids coming in from the other middle school, and they're like, hey, or they're like, can we sit here or whatever? Or they, I don't know what they say at, but they sit down. I'm like, oh yeah, sit. Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to be alone here. This is solid. And I'm like, okay, these seem like cool guys. And turns out like I'm close friends with Holmes. So Vlad, whose party it was, good friends with Sadeep, hung out with him. He's in my math class now, and hung out with him. And Thaddeus, I hang out with. I don't really hang out with him, but friends with him. It's like crazy that's that happened like that. And then it's like science is like the friend making zone for me or whatever. So I've had another friend who I'm closer with now from science, and this year I don't really know anyone in my science class, or not really friends with a lot of the people there. So maybe make some new friends there. I don't know. Making friends is fun, people. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. And funny thing on side note of the side note. So me and Sadeep are in the same math class, and like first day of school we get our seating charts and we're on the same table. We're like, oh sweet, this is awesome. And then like 5 days later I get moved to the back of the room because one of the guys can't see or whatever, and so my teacher's like, oh, do you mind moving back there? And I'm like, oh, is this an option really? Like I can't say no to you. So I'm like, I guess I could, but I'm not one to do that. And so I moved back there or whatever, and I'm like, oh dang it, maybe next time I'll sit with Sadeep. And on Friday we changed seats, and I'm like, we did it by like birthday, and we had to like do the, we couldn't talk but match our birthdays. It was stupid. But I see she's like, oh, do I want to make this a 3-person table or a 4-person table? She's like, how about 4-person? And then Sadeep was like the last person in the 4-person, so he got in my table. I'm like, oh, this is awesome, or hang out with him or whatever. And then he gets moved with another guy, and so now we're not sitting together again. So it's like, oh, not that big of a deal because I know some of the other guys at my table, but just kind of unfortunate. Hope you guys enjoyed that commentary. That wrapped up pretty nicely. Quite pleased with that. Ooh.